It's a cheat. A phony and a self-confessed fraud is the reason the British don't like Meghan Markle. Hello and a very warm welcome back to LVT News. This whole race card game that Meghan Markle likes to play is completely disgusting, but do you know what the worst part of it is? So Meghan Markle actually claimed to be white her entire life until she needed to be black, and that was not until it was announced that she was planning to marry Harry before that Meghan Markle could not care less that she was biracial. It was only then that she started this campaign of her biracial. See, when Meghan Markle started to have issues with the royal family because they didn't give in to all of her demands, while she decided to get back at them by weaponizing the race card against the royal family, and that is just so wrong on so many levels. If Meghan didn't say anything about being biracial, it never would have blown up so horribly the way that it did and caused problems all around the world. Her late Majesty the Queen knew, the entire royal family knew that Meghan Markle was biracial, but they approved of the marriage. They didn't hesitate to. It was not an issue for them. In fact, they welcomed back with open arms. It was not Her late Majesty the Queen and the royal family who made race such a big problem. It was Meghan, and she has used the fact that she is biracial to hurt other people. She is not trying to build up race relations and racial acceptance. Obviously nobody really cares that Meghan has ancestors who came from Africa. I mean, American heritage might be a little bit of a problem considering that she married into the British royal family, but her African heritage is certainly no issue. And the only way that I say that her American heritage could be a little bit of a problem is because at the end of the day, American culture is very different from British culture, especially the culture of the British royal family. Any American who tries to join the royal family does have quite the learning curve to deal with. I mean, behavior, decorum. All of that is just quite different. The expectations are simply not what we're used to, but Meghan refused to participate in the training that would have been necessary to learn these skills. Nobody was bothered that Harry married a woman of color. I mean, come on. I think all of this is just coming from the sugars compared to William. Harry had for quite a while actually looked very lonely. He was alone. He didn't have any girlfriend. He was always performing royal duties on his own, or he was going out as a threesome with William and Catherine. So his two ex-girlfriends, the ones we knew about, left him because we assumed they did not want to accept his life in the public eye. Others came and went, but nobody lasted for very long. And again, we assumed that it was because of who Harry was in the royal family rather than who he was as a person. But when we found out that Harry was dating this good-looking American actress in the UK, basically everyone was happy for him. Everyone thought, okay, finally, Harry has found love. What a wonderful thing. We assumed that Meghan was somebody who was mature enough to understand what she was getting herself into, who obviously was already used to the cameras and the paparazzi following her, and we thought because she was an actress, she would have the skills necessary to seem to be enjoying herself all the time. Even those times when things weren't necessarily to her liking. And because in the UK, these things just don't matter that much. There weren't even many people who considered Meghan's racial heritage to be a disadvantage. In fact, many people were just happy that somebody of mixed race was going to be in the royal family. It was exciting. People thought, all right, it's going to make the royal family a lot more relatable to everybody. And nobody thought that it was a bad thing that Meghan was American. I mean, the fact that she was a woman of color was mostly greeted with enthusiasm. So in the beginning nobody saw many problems. But tragically, this period quickly came to a close. Rumors started coming out and making it was difficult that she was a diva, that she was very demanding, and we found out that she didn't speak to her father and that she didn't have anything to do with any other members of her family except for her mother, and she also made some gestures that showed that maybe she's not going to be a suitable addition to the royal family. Like the time that she stuck her tongue out during a Christmas walkabout even before she married Harry in the UK. At least that is hardly considered the behavior of a real lady. And then 4 days after the wedding, She was at it again at the 17th birthday garden party for King Charles. Basically they had to throw her out for her bad behavior. She was overheard talking about how she felt bored and she wanted to leave. She had only been there 20 minutes. So at that point, everybody started to realize what was happening and things have just gone downhill ever since then. So the truth is, British opinion doesn't have a thing to do with Meghan's nationality, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman of color. Instead, it has much more to do with the fact that on her CV she tries to claim that she is Caucasian. Because Meghan is a phony and she's a fraud, and that is the reason the people of the UK don't like her, and since she's glued herself to Harry, she has not done a thing to dispel that opinion. In fact, basically everything that she has done has just proven that we figured her out in the very beginning. She's not a very nice person, and that's why people don't like her. And it is time for her to give up playing the race card all the time. It's just getting old, and it doesn't have a thing to do with why people don't like her. Most anybody who doesn't like Meghan doesn't like her because of her lying, the games that she plays with all these leaks to the media, her bad manners, her very obvious character flaws, her obnoxious behavior, and the way that she is so self-absorbed. She doesn't believe anybody is as important as she is. Last time I checked, race has nothing to do with any of those problems. It's not responsible to continue promoting this racial divide for no real reason other than that is convenient for Meghan, and she also thinks that it's a nice weaponization against people who do not just do whatever she tells them to instead of just doing the right thing in the first place and being honest and truthful. From the very beginning, Meghan Markle has been playing that race card because she's not very honest, and she knew that it was going to get her a lot of attention. She thought that people would feel sorry for her victimization story. See, Meghan brought and played her own personal agenda with the royal family. She never joined in honestly, she never really wanted to be a working. Meghan's many failures, though, are her own fault. She needs to stop jumping on the bandwagon of blaming everybody else for what she refuses to take responsibility for, which is herself and her own problems. The only ones going on and on about races and nationality are her sugars that live in the US. I don't think there was anybody in the UK who has even discussed the fact that she's biracial. It was her desire all of a sudden to be identified as mixed race, and her BS on Oprah about her children's skin color really set the stage. Meghan's inability to see what she was doing to her brand is her. Meghan never dated a black man. She never wanted to, and she certainly never married one either. She only plays the race card when she thinks is going to get her some more money from the royal family, or when she was crying and nobody asked her how she was. She tells so many lies, and those lies are coming back to haunt. Now, you know, I'm an American, and I'll be the first to say she is such an embarrassment to everybody living in this country. Everybody in the US was also excited for Harry in the beginning of their relationship. But eventually we saw who Meghan Markle really is, and so more people in the US dislike her than like her at this point. And when they were planning this move to the US, maybe they shouldn't have picked California to live in. They should have found some backwater swamp to live in, and maybe then they could have had the privacy they claim they want. But oh, wait a minute. They don't really want privacy, and actually maybe the people living in those backwater swamps also wouldn't have wanted to make in there. I can't blame them anyway. I am so embarrassed for both the UK and the US and for what this disgusting woman has done, and I feel even worse for their children if they're real. Harry only left the military about 3 years before he married Meghan, so he only worked for the firm for a pretty short time, and apparently he didn't like it very much. Harry was one of the smallest contributors to events, even though he was one of the youngest and he didn't have any family. Instead, he spent a lot of his time outside of the UK. He spent a lot of time in Africa. Apparently he was just hanging out while the rest of the family was doing some hard work. The truth is, Harry was never going to contribute to the firm in any meaningful way, and he was always going to complain. So when he met Meghan, he saw that as his get-out-of-jail-free card. He had finally found someone who wanted to work even less than he did, and Meghan was more than happy to help him destroy the monarchy and leave a path of destruction in their wake. I am guessing the royal family was shocked and hurt by the duo's actions, and I'm sure they are still reeling from the drama and all the attacks. They were never going to contribute anything meaningful to the firm. They had a plan the whole time, and I guess, to be fair, it looks like it's worked out pretty well for them. But eventually I think Meghan and Harry are going to learn the real meaning of the phrase "what goes around